hell?
Hello everyone and welcome to the Warhammer Preview Online. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. It's fantastic for you to be joining us this evening, this morning. My name's Nick, I'm joined by Eddie, and we're about to show you a whole
Bon, ça nous prenait le esti qu'on va être déçus.
Yep, we are doing this preview today as there is an event happening in the United States right now, which is called the Nova Open, and we've just, for the people in attendance at the Nova Open, done a preview in person. They've got a chance to see some of this stuff first. We've actually got a short video of the crowd at the Nova Open just after they've seen some of the new reveals. So, Raph, you want to play that? We'll see how excited they were to see it.
OK. OK, le monde est excité. OK. Ça, c'est vous autres dans vos salons, là. C'est sûr qu'ils ont juste dit au monde applaudissez comme des caves pendant 30 secondes. Là. Personne qui applaudit de même pendant 30 secondes. Là. Impossible. La crowd du GTT dans un mois.
To show you very shortly. Before we do, we're joined in the chat by Mr. Vincent Notley, who's our moderator. Thank you, Notley, for joining us this evening. Raph's in the background pushing the buttons for us. If you'd like to enter anything to the chat, we have got an eye on it. We'll try and answer these things this evening if we can, just to be nice. Should we get on to it?
Yeah, so just in terms of how this is going to work, we have a whole bunch of new Warhammer things to show you. Got loads of stuff for loads of different settings and IPs, lots of different game systems. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. We've got a series of videos. We've got
un peu son, yes. D'habitude, je leur montre rendu au vrai review.
Whatever your hobby, there's something for you, right? Basically.
Before we get stuck in, the thing that we always do on these previews is we ask the audience, where are you tuning in from?
Of course.
That's very important. It's the most important thing. So do let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. If you're staying up late in Europe, as we are, it's about 2 in the morning over here.
Some folks from England in the chat. So
yeah, if you're tuning in from the United States, somewhere near Nova, maybe you were even at the Nova Open preview and you decided to watch it all again, welcome back. But do let us know where you're from.
Ireland, New Zealand, USA, all over the place. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's brilliant.
Yeah. We know lots of you have been waiting very patiently in the Twitch chat for a good few minutes now, so we are going to get straight and stuck into the previews.
Let's go.
And we'll start off, I think, with something for Space Marine. Let's do it for the brand new Space Marine Terminators. We saw the first of these, obviously, in the Leviathan box set earlier this year. Now there's some more on the way. Nick, what do we know about them?
They are fantastic. So they're super tough, super elite infantry for your army, of course, Terminators famously so. And this is a multi-part box set rather than the sort of single build ones that came in the Leviathan box, with loads of options for you to build them however you want to.
Yeah.
We've got weapon options include the Cyclone missile launcher you can see here on the left-hand side, the heavy flamer on the right. You've also got lots of things like chain fists and extra weapons and stuff for your Terminators 2, and the classic builds for your sergeants.
Si je quitte bash un peu, ça peut ressembler à skip.
Chain fist, I think, is a big one there, so you can start carving through tabs.
Yeah, those are great.
Some really nice alternate head options as well. I think it's maybe the first, or
C'est
we
vrai.
haven't seen many Terminators that kind of half helmet look before, so that's really cool to see. It really fleshes out the options basically. So these are same scale that add in really nicely. If you got a Leviathan set earlier this year, you add these on top of it, and all of a sudden you've got a pretty sizable and scary looking first company.
Especially if you're trying to sort of build up your first company forces, like the Battle from a Crag scenario that came out recently, then these are going to be crucial for you to get hold of and to build your forces up.
Yeah,
I need me some of these.
No specific iconography on these for any particular chapter, so they're quite easy to go into any of the kind of codex chapters, so they can be Black Templars, White Scars, Ultramarines, as you see there.
Juste besoin de mettre des red face puis t'as 500 filles.
Salamanders or Iron Hands or anything really.
Absolutely.
C'est le reveal le moins excitant de l'histoire, ça.
Of course, we saw the Captain and Terminator armor in the Leviathan box set.
Peut-être qu'il y a du monde excité, I guess.
This is a different build of a Captain. It also comes with a combi weapon and a relic fist, which you can see on the top right hand as well, to give you a really nice options on your builds.
So one of the things lots of fans of Warhammer 40,000 ask for quite a lot is options on their character kits. So that's what we're starting to see with some of these new Space Marine builds. You can see there you've got various different helmeted and unhelmeted heads. You've got the choice of having Stormbolter or Combi Weapon, so you can personalize this guy and make him your own. You can also see there the kind of robe at the bottom there is optional, so if you want to go for a very kind of noble, knightly aesthetic, if it's kind of Dark Angels or Ultramarines or something like that, you can. If you want a more kind of austere, Spartan look for your Iron Hands or something, you could just go old-fashioned and not put too much decoration on it.
Of course, if you haven't thought about it before, having a captain leading your force is an absolute crucial for a Space Marine force. This guy's got rights of battle, and you have some free stratagems as the game goes on. Also, he's got Unstoppable Valor, which lets you re-roll his charges for the unit he's with. So if you put him with a Terminator unit, those guys are going to get stuck in pretty sharpish.
It's not the only new character on his way, though. So we also have a Terminator Chaplain Terminator armor, and again, this is a multi-build kit, so you've got different options for the helmet, you've also got different options for the Croziers, and you've got different options for his weapon loadout.
Yeah, it's really cool to see, and for the first time, I think, we've seen a Chaplain with a huge shield. This is a relic shield, which other characters have in the Space Marine army as well, which makes him a lot tougher and harder to kill. And combine that with his Rosarius makes this guy an absolute monster on the battlefield, so get him involved as well.
Clearly he was looking at his armor and he was like,
un
what
gros
I
bouclier,
need
un
here
gros
is a place
bouclier.
I can put more skulls. So he's not only got a skull helmet, he's also got a shield with another skull on it. If you look at the Purity Seals, one of them is a skull, and there's even a little skull drawn on the Purity Seal as well. So this is one of the most skull-intensive Space Marine models.
Isn't it? He's even got a skull
got
helmet.
a lot of skulls.
Yeah. And also, like, shout out to the fact that Crozius Arcanum he's got two different builds. He's got the blunt option on the right and what I call the slicey option on the left, so he can cut or smash.
Very flexible.
Yeah, right. For any situation. Yeah, a wonderful miniature, and again scaled to new templates.
All right.
So
What's next?
Really exciting if you're looking to kind of build into that first company vibe. The Leviathan box obviously gave a great start for that, but this kind of gives you a whole bunch more options for it. But sometimes Terminators aren't the tool for the job, and you want something a little bit faster. So let's have a look at the next video.
Il dit un chandail de what? Ah ouais? Ils ont des jetpacks, eux autres? Jump into the fray.
Dropping in from space to kick some face, we have the new Assault Intercessors with jump packs and a new captain to lead them. Nick, what do we know about these units?
So, well, first of all, we know they're pretty flyer, right? These guys are awesome. We've got jump packs on Primaris Marines for the first time, which is great to see. Saw a little bit of a hint of that in some of the Space Marine trailers for the computer games back in the day, but now good to see them as models. Wonderful new unit, Assault Intercessors with jump packs here. Super fast, they can move into combat as fast as you'd expect. They've got 12-inch movement and have loads of attacks in combat, so you want to get these guys stuck in as soon as possible.
Ça te fait des Stormfiend avec des jetpacks? C'est parfait.
Power sword, chain sword, and plasma pistol, and even a hand flamer, I believe, is one of the options you can have as well. So yeah, super customizable unit, and instead of...
On garde le meilleur pour la fin. Bien dit, Tognar. Bien dit.
Fly across the battlefield straight in.
Worth saying as well, obviously, this unit paints up red very nicely, so if you have a Blood Angel army, this is...
On dit ça là, mais dans le fond, la dernière reveal, ça va être un kit en métal de Old World.
Also, Raven Guard make extensive use of jump pack troops as well. So
Check by ça.
I think that's the Power Fist in there as well, so there's an option for that. Loads of different options for your Sergeant, and the Hand Flamer, as you talked about there, is on there. The Model 2. These are really dynamic, cool models. They look heavy at the same time as looking fast. You can sort of imagine the mess these guys are going to make when they land in the middle of a kind of Chaos Cultist blob or a mob of Gene Stealer cultists or something. You do not want to be
point, lui, il
when
donne...
it lands,
Est-ce qu'il drop et il fait un superhero landing, genre, puis il drop avec son point à terre? Cette patente-là, ici, là.
It's just nice to have them back in as another tactical option to have in your forces. And you know what? If they're led by the captain, Raph, we've got that as the next picture. They become even better because, of course, in 40k you've got attached units now, and this beautiful, beautiful miniature of the captain. He's got his cloak in full flow as he's flying through the air. What an absolute hero!
It's quite a short tactical cloak, isn't it? So he's not gone for like a great, huge flowing cloak. because that's probably not
Absolutely.
hugely practical when you've got a jet engine strapped to your back.
Right.
Again, this is a captain miniature with loads of options, so you can see a couple of options there already. We've got the chain sword and the power sword, relic sword, sorry. But you've also got an option in there for a power fist, and you've got an option for a hand flamer, so you can kind of lean into whatever build, either for tactical purposes or because it suits your particular style of play. So if you've got a salamander army, you're probably going to want to give him the hand flamer. If you've got like an imperial fist, you might want to give him the great enormous power fist, right? A couple of head options in there as well. Again, a captain with loads of options to make it your own, which is exactly what Space Marine fans have been after.
It's just a beautiful model, Eddie. It really is. And if you've got an assault intercessor squad in your force, have him leading them as well. The Angel's Wrath rule means that the whole squad gets +1 strength on a charge. If you combine that with the
Ouais, ça fait quelques-uns qui disent qu'au moins ils ont pas de flying stand.
that's +2 strength on a charge.
C'était-tu de la merde à gérer avec des flying stands?
Loads of attacks, get them in combat, wonderful stuff, and a wonderful model as well. That's going straight on my painting desk.
But that's not it. We've got there's even more Space Marine stuff on the way. So let's have a look at the next.
Ça pue la Warband Fake.
Another new multi-part Space Marine.
Les rumeurs sont plus grosses que ça, là.
These are the
J'espère que ce sera pas juste une
Space
Warband.
Marines of the first company. Nick, tell us about this kit.
They are the best armed unit in your army, Eddie. And first and foremost, they've got a back banner. Back banners are back, which is great. We've got an older.
You're very excited about
Very
the back
excited
banner
about
when you
that.
saw
I really
this
am.
kit.
We've got older marks of armor in there. You can spot some Mark 8 helmet on the left-hand side and a few bits. These guys are veterans. Have been around for a long, long time. They carry the chapter's best guns, including a brand new weapon on the right-hand side, the Pyre Cannon, which is like the souped-up version of the guns that the Infernus Marines carry. So this thing is the biggest, most flamey infantry weapon we've got, even bigger than a heavy flamer, which is cool. Loads of options on the kit. You can arm them with loads of different things. All the guns interchangeable with bolt rifles, combi weapons. The sergeant's got different options he can have as well. He can have a chainsaw, power fist, or power weapon. Just soup them up, kit them out the way you want and send them to battle. These guys are great.
This is a great kit for people who want loads of Space Marine bits as well to kind of maybe mix with other kits, because you've got loads of different helmet options in there, helmeted, unhelmeted heads. You've got the whole squad can have rifles, the whole squad can have combi weapons. There's a heavy bolter, I think I'm right in saying, in this kit as well. So you really can make these guys your own. And when you do build this kit, you'll have lots of spare bits to kind of sprinkle through the rest of your Space Marine army.
It's a complete bits box as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Loads of extra bits.
That back banner can go anywhere. Anyone can have it.
Have it at all. Yeah, it's really great to see. It's nice. Like if you hark back to classic Space Marine builds in there as well. So they've got the old helmets, a few different armor types in there, which is just really nice to see, especially for us old players who've painted them for a long time. Nice nostalgia.
On va aller chercher un autre canne pendant qu'il se passe rien.
There we go. Stonegard Veterans Man.
But again, but not the only new elite Space Marines are on the way. There's more. There's more.
Believe it. What else we got?
Let's have a look.
Il y a donc ben des Marines!
So this is
Au moins, il les passe vite. Au moins, il les passe vite.
Kind of classic archetype Space Marine unit, the Command Squad. So we've seen Command Squads before, but we've not kind of seen them coalesce together, maybe under the kind of Primaris aesthetic. Tell us about this squad.
Yeah, the Command Squads have always been sort of a collection of guys all brought together. But this is actually a bespoke squad. First and foremost, some of the nicest Space Marine miniatures we've ever made. I think that Ancient for me is just beautiful. Some of the coolest veterans, all to accompany your heroes into battle. These guys are basically a squad of 4 that will accompany either a captain or a chapter master into battle. Their box actually comes with the captain you see there, which is another brand new captain miniature as well, with loads of options all over them as well. And the whole squad is there to guard your hero, keep them in battle a lot longer, and to buff everyone around them and be absolute boss in combat and shooting as well. They're just a really cool little unit, and for me, really, it's going to be a nice little painting project as well. I think these guys are great.
Yeah, I think these really are like a painter's dream. There's some really nice individual models in there. So the company champion, is obviously he's going to. Is just a really nice kind of character, great for taking on enemy heroes. You've got the banner as well, which gives you a nice kind of centerpiece for the army. You've also got a Space Marine that looks a bit battered and missing an arm. We haven't seen a huge amount of bionics up to this point on Primaris Marines. But again, the captain is probably the star of the show because he's, again, really flexible kit. You can build it in lots of different ways. So coming straight out of this release, you can kind of choose whatever captain you want to lead your Space Marine force. You can have him with a jump pack, you can have him in Terminator armor, you can have him in Tacticus armor, and within that choice you can still choose loads of different options. So it's a great time to start collecting Space Marines and to kind of lean into whatever you want for your
you're absolutely
leader.
right. Yeah, good shout. Look at them top right there with his pointy power fist and his plasma pistol.
Yeah, and that's all from the same kit. So you've got lots of different ways you can approach building that Space Marine captain.
Wonderful stuff. It's really nice to see sort of hero models back with lots of different options as well. Obviously, we've been asking for them as well. And
Mettons l'urgence demain matin, tu te lèves dans un monde où Eus n'existe pas. Quelle armée de 48 tu joues?
very cool. All right.
So at the other end, experience spectrum for Space Marines. You've got,
Soit des Chaos Knights, des Imperial Knights ou des les d'autres qui viennent de Mars. Là. Les d'autres qui viennent de Mars. Adeptus Mechanicus truc là. Oh, des snipers. Le sniper est cool.
So the 10th company.
Mon
of
Dieu, il y avait
Space
du
Marines,
stock à montrer à soir
going
là.
out for their training day. What do we know about this squad?
So we've seen
Ça me laisse quand même, ça me donne quand même espoir qu'on va avoir du love de notre côté aussi. Là. S'ils ont autant de kits à montrer comme ça puis qu'ils les passent rapidement, c'est bon signe.
Scouts as well with the new models. They're just absolutely beautiful. Of course, a very classic unit for the Space Marine. Scouts have been around pretty much as long as Space Marines have been in Warhammer 40,000. You can take squads of these in 5 to 10. Lots of different weapon options in the box. They can all have shotguns, bolters, or bolt pistols and combat knives. There's also options in the box for a heavy bolter and a missile launcher as well, which is super cool. And yeah, these guys are super stealthy in the game. You can move them around the battlefield. They can disappear and reappear all over the place, and they can use a smoke screen stratagem as well. So they're just walking around with screens of smoke. That's great. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, you've got some options for the sergeant in there as well. So he's obviously a fully fledged Space Marine, but choosing to wear scout armor to kind of lead them to battle. You've also got a sniper rifle in there as well. So
Yes.
you've got lots of tools of the trade basically. So you're kind of will be Devastator Marines can try out some of the heavy weapons.
They can try exactly. They can go for enemy
Des
characters.
hard boys
sniper
pour
rifle,
Blood Bowl
you
puis
can
des
take
fakes
out,
pour Warcry.
long range targets.
Non,
They're
non,
really
non,
good at
non,
sneaking
non.
around
Fais-nous
and
pas
taking
ça, là.
objectives, especially with their
Non,
guerrilla
non,
tactics.
non,
Really
non.
lets them just sneak off in any way they want to. They're really cool in an army, and just look at the custom options. The kit. I love that grapple launcher. It's so cool. The whole box is just a great box. Get involved. You know.
And again, it's going to come with loads of different options because you can kit the squad out kind of in bolter direction, in bolt pistol direction, or in shotgun direction. So you're going to have all those other bits left to play with for lots of different.
I always used to have like 4 guys with bolt guns and a heavy bolter, and then another squad that was all combat weapons running into combat with them. Because they're still Space Marines in combat. They're still pretty good in a fight.
Well, they're still better than most people's other basic troops,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, yeah.
There we go. New scouts on the way very soon. There's so much to get painted now for Space
There's
Marines.
a lot of Space Marines.
So much Space Marines.
Got
to
enough blue paint, Nick?
get. Plenty, but also note to say that all of the models we've just shown you can be used for any of the chapters out there. So not just blue paint, although blue paint, in my opinion, is the best.
Nos modèles pour les Skaven acolytes, c'est les Weapons Team, s'il vous plaît. Ouais.
For you as well. Some
Ils
folks
sont
in the chat
dus.
were saying, oh,
Ils
just
sont
Space
dus,
Marines.
effectivement.
I'm sure you'll be finding it useful in your Space Wolf army as well, and your Death Watch forces. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to use those models as well.
All right, let's just have a quick roundup of all those Space Marines that we've just seen then, and then we'll tell you a little bit about the Codex.
Planet Ogram was ruthlessly devoured, but the war did not end there.
Pourvu qu'on ait le temps de voir le nouveau Battletoad Luminette. Uh-huh.
So that's all of the new Space Marine models that are on their way. They are, of course, featuring in a brand new codex for the Space Marines, which will be the second codex for the new edition of Warhammer 40,000 after the Tyranid 1 goes on pre-order this weekend. Nick, what do we know about this new Space Marine codex?
So exciting. Every time we see a Space Marine codex, there's always new exciting things to talk about. The big one here, of course, is that there are more detachments on the way. We've seen detachments already for the new Tyranids that came around before, but the Space Marines are going to get new ones as well. Of course, there's the Gladius Task Force, which we know and love from the index cards. That's in there as well. But also, there's a whole bunch of new detachments that lets you focus your army in the way you want to. Now, previously we would have had stuff like rules for Iron Hands or rules for...
C'est-tu le même color, pour vrai?
But rather than having chapter-specific rules now, we've actually gone for the detachments, which sort of hint heavily towards one of those chapters, but don't say you have to use them. So, for example, we've got one detachment that's all about using tech marines and vehicles, another one's about close-quarter shooting, another one that's all about using fast vehicles to get forwards and fight, or even sneaking around in the background with sort of your vanguard troops. So you can customize your army any way you like. So you can have sort of an army of Ultramarines bikes with the rules for an army of bikes, but they don't have to be White Scars, if it makes sense.
So you don't quite feel bad for having the wrong colour on the battlefield, or by hamstringing yourself into using the wrong rules, I guess, for your army. So certainly if you do have an army like White Scars or Salamanders or Iron Hands that's already lent into the theme, there is a detachment for
100%.
you. But equally, if you're like, you know what, I really like red Space Marines, but I also really like
Flamers.
tanks or flamers or something, you can absolutely kind of
It's
lean in
always
that direction
similar.
and make the army work for you.
Which is a really nice little tweak to change here. You can build your army any way you like, which leans, of course, into how many different options there are in
C'est les mêmes couleurs.
You can build your army any way you like at all, with any of the miniatures, and there is going to be one of the detachments for you. My favourite one is going to be the First Company Task Force, Eddie. All about the veterans and the Terminators coming down, which you can also see the new Terminators and the new Stern Guard are perfect for, and they're all in there. Every detachment has its own stratagems and enhancements as well, just like the Tyranid book does, which leans into the style of warfare that you're going for. So yeah, it's super exciting, and it's just around the corner as well.
Yeah, coming in the next few weeks. Not too long at all to wait for that one.
Can't wait to play some games with that.
All right,
So
all right.
we've had a little bit of Warhammer 40,000. We're going to jump now to the Mortal Realms and have a look at something exciting.
All right.
Coming over the
Let's
horizon.
go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, c'est la bébête. Quoi ça? The king of the Troggoths. What? What the hell? Damn. Y a-tu ramassé un patent de Seraphon sur le dos? Oh non, une genre de Realm Gate, c'est quoi? Ouh, une boîte de Dawnbringers.
Eddie, what's that? We've discovered a brand new
On s'est
monster.
fait troller.
It's Trog the Troggoth King, a huge monster.
Trog the
Yeah, so this
Trog.
is an incredible miniature. I think a contender probably for miniature of the
Trog.
year for me. This is the largest Troggoth we have yet seen. He has been dubbed King of the Troggoths. This is an ancient being who has slept for centuries. He slept for so long, in fact, that an ancient civilization has even started building temples and things on his back. He didn't even notice. It didn't wake him up. But the recent tumultuous events of the realms have kind of shaken him from his centuries-long slumber. And basically, that huge engine on his back gives him a headache whenever he
Je me
goes
demande,
near
il est gros
anything
comment, par
magical.
exemple.
So he's basically wandering along the magical ley lines of the mortal
J'espère
realms,
qu'ils vont
trying
le
to smash
comparer.
all the magical things he can find so that he can get back to sleep.
It's brilliant. It's such a great character miniature as well. It's got that really sort of over-the-top sort of character of the Troggoths from Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but with the extra added bits on top, and also how big he is
80
as well.
maybe?
I just fought some games with him recently, and he's
130.
monstrous. The big
Il
old
avait l'air
waist
comme
on
un
his back as
croque-bas.
well. He
Ouais,
doesn't like it
ok,
being
ouais,
there.
c'est
He's
vrai. On
whacking
l'a
it
vu
with
quand
his
même
big club,
plus
and
gros.
it has various magical effects throughout the game, so he doesn't know how it works, but he just keeps hitting it, and something magical happens.
Butt rating! Nice curves. Nice
Loads
curves
of
quand même, là.
absolutely stunning details on this guy. So you've got kind of bits of relic and artifacts.
Probablement
from,
un genre de
lost
4 sur
civilizations that probably
5,
no one
là,
alive in the
solide.
Mortal
Là.
Realms is even like aware of the language of. And you can see the kind of bits of
Solide.
old, magical leavings and offerings sort of kicking around on him. You could imagine him like underneath a hill or a mound somewhere in this civilization, blissfully unaware that their entire culture was built on literally on the back of a Troggoth. Loads of other little lovely features. So there's a tiny little troglings kind of wandering around on there as well. There's skulls and things. There's actually some cave paintings on his belly and on his legs. So you can almost imagine maybe they didn't even know that they were drawing on the side of a troll. So these kind of primitive cultures would have been writing things on him, thinking, that's a hunting plan sort of thing.
Très beau.
Great painting project's going to be discovering new details every time you.
Yeah.
Non! Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
It's really cool.
Okay.
He's got these enormous great
J'ai eu peur.
horns as well. So he's been asleep in the realm of Gyron, in the realm of life, and the kind of life energy is infused in while he's been sleeping, and you can see that manifesting through these great big horns and through the tendrils and things that are kind of creeping around the obelisk on his back.
It's such a cool model, and yeah, you're right, chat. He's got a very big beard as well, which is great for a troglodyte.
Ouais, il y a une grosse barbe.
Yeah, he's coming with the new Dawnbringers book as well, which is we'll talk about in a bit. But he's on his way, lumbering over the hill with his army of Troggoths, and he's terrifying. Yeah, I used him in a game recently, Eddie, and he's almost impossible to kill. He's got a few rules in there, which means, like other Troggoths, he can regenerate wounds as he goes along, but he's obviously, thanks to being asleep in the realm of Gyron, imbued with life, so he regenerates even more than others do. So it's really tough to kill him. So he's a perfect model to lead your Gloomspite Kids force.
Yeah, well, we're talking a little bit there about the new Dawnbringers book. Let's jump to that now, actually, on what's...
Dawnbringers. Ooh! Ooh! Go back! Ouais. Troggoths rise up. Oh! 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 Iron Jaws! The Oryx attack! Ah! Stormcast? Les géants? Nice. Reign of the Brute.
So the Dawnbringers Crusades continue, Eddie. Part 2, the Reign of the Brute. What do we know about this book?
Well, the Brute refers to Trog, the Troggoth King, as the model we just previewed. But yes, this continues the story of the Dawnbringers Crusades, specifically 2 great crusades heading out of Hammerhall, one into the realm of fire, one into the realm of life. And in this particular book, they bump into destruction. They literally bump into the forces of destruction. So there's a very heavy presence from Trogs. There's lots of Gargants who are trying to get in the way, and there are Oryx as well that are kind of attacking these crusades from all sides. So Sigmar's great hope of recolonization of the realms is bumping into the current inhabitants, which aren't too pleased to see them.
Giant monsters, man.
So loads of great lore, loads of great stories, and kind of continues the narrative of Age of Sigmar. Gives you loads of Path to Glory rules to recreate those
Path to Glory rules.
There's lots of specific stuff for destruction as well. So we've talked a bit about it already, hinted at some of the rules around Troggoths. There is a Troggoth army of renown in this book, which basically lets you do an entire Trog-leaning army, mostly to be led by the Troggoth King, with loads of rules specifically for the kind of wandering horde that is following around in his wake.
And fantastic. And also, of course, you saw in the video there a lot of the new big iron skulls, the pigs in the chat, people are very excited about. And an entire army of pigs is in that book as well. You can take just an army of grunters, which is great.
It is. In fact, let's have a look at some more of the new Iron Jaws now.
All right. Ooh. Oh, c'est des nouvelles brutes. Damn. What? Oh, les armures, ça. Ils ont moins d'armure. Oh, wow. Nice.
Wow, it's time for the Iron Jaws to make a big appearance back in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Man, we had some great models before in the past. We've seen some more models recently, but this is a whole wave of Oryx.
There are a lot of Oryx on their way for sure. So we'll start off with this guy. So we saw Clonk at the start of the week. I think already a hit with fans everywhere. I mean, what is not to love?
Oh, c'est quoi son weapon?
Who's also an anvil with fabulous hair. He comes with a new Oryx special character, Zogrok Anvil Smasher, which is basically an Oryx Smith. So this is one of the Oryx who has a skill beyond just hitting people really hard. This guy can hit metal really hard and make it into great weapons. He is a named character for Age of Sigmar, so a brand new named Iron Jaw, which is pretty cool. And he is a smith.
Nice.
He has a couple of options in game, so you can either kit him out with a ward smashing weapon, or you can kit him out with stuff to help him buff nearby Oryx units. So a really useful model, something we haven't really seen before for Iron Jaws.
Son outil est en forme de cochon.
And also like a really great model to paint. And of course, he comes in a set with Clonk. So,
I'd even argue that he comes free with your Clonk miniature.
Well, you can certainly look at it that way if you want to. But yeah, a really fun model, a great kind of addition to your Iron Jaws force.
Yeah, he's really cool. He has the ability as well to hit opponents so hard with his ward smashing chopper that he can literally switch off enemies' ward saves for the rest of the battle, which is amazing. He literally smashes their ward saves, which is really cool in game. I can't think of many rules in the game that do that. He's a nice, unique option for your Royal Army.
It's very cool. He's not alone. We've also got Brute Rages. So,
Ragers.
Oryx culture is all about boasts, right? So Oryx basically stomp around the Oryx camps, boasting that they can, arm wrestle a Gargant or headbutt a mountain or something like that. And sometimes they'll get called on those boasts and not be able to live up to it. And the shame of that drives these Oryx brutes to become brute ragers. What they do is they discard their armor and they take up great two-handed weapons and they go charging off into the middle of the enemy army.
What the hell?
To prove that they are absolutely the hardest orcs around, and nobody could ever accuse them of being cowardly or not living up to their rights.
Sont crissement badass.
But for over
Solidement
It
badass.
take a brave soldier to challenge.
Prenez-moi tout.
These
Gimme.
models are fantastic. First seen in the Warhammer Underworlds format a while ago.
On sent la wow.
Whole unit of them here in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. You can
Wow.
take lots of different weapon options. They can take chain smashers, gore hackers, or brute crushers, all of which are devastating in combat. And these guys are berserk. They can run and charge in the same term.
Run and charge, baby.
So get them involved. Insert them into the enemy army as soon as possible and see what they can do about it. Yeah, they are pretty hard.
Damn.
Guys. Yep, absolutely.
This is a dual kit as well, so you can also build these guys
Oh.
as weird brute wreckers.
Ooh,
so,
dual kit.
Weird brute wreckers are orcs who channel an unusual amount of war energy. It gives them like a bit of a green headache and sometimes they start vomiting glowing green power, basically.
J'aime mieux les Ragers personnellement, mais eux sont cool aussi.
Hammer these masks onto the Oryx and let them run off towards the enemy with these great ball and chains and swing into the middle of the enemy force.
Yeah, imagine them to be like, remember Night
Des
Goblins?
brutes fanatiques, ouais.
Fanatics?
Yeah, yeah.
They're like that, but super huge and big versions of them. They just run into the enemy force.
Just in case Night Goblin Fanatics weren't scary enough, you can now it's an enormous great Oryx brute
These things are just
swinging.
Donc tu vois les veines sur leurs
again,
muscles, genre.
kind of line breaker unit basically that's going to go into the middle of the enemy army and just
Damn.
make an absolute mess. These are particularly good for kind of smashing through hordes of enemy infantry.
Yeah, absolutely. They get so many attacks.
Ooh,
and if you
les
roll
hard
well, you
boys.
more as well, but
Oh, ils ont des shields.
look at these.
Oh my
The
god.
New workings of the Auric Ard boys.
Oh my
New,
god.
sort of models for the Iron Jaws, and they're just
Leur
beautiful.
shield, dude.
Yeah, so this is a really, really lovely kit. So I think even though Auric Boys are arguably like the basic unit in the Iron Jaws army, this is like a showstopper kit. These are really, really cool. Previously, the Auric Boys used the old Black Orc models from Warhammer Fantasy. This is a huge glow up for that kit. They've much more character, much more dynamism in these models. Really kind of rugged, angry-looking shields. Even the kind of shields are kind of weapons. More options than they used to have. So you've got some spear options in there. You've got the champion. You can get them out in different ways, and they can give you
Pauvre toi,
options
Togna.
basically for your Iron Jaws battle.
In fact, they've
Oh,
just been
pauvre
brought
toi.
into line with how the Auric Brutes and the rest of the range look as well. The whole aesthetic of these are absolutely beautiful, while still keeping some of the callbacks. Raph was talking about how they look a little bit like the Blood Bowl Black Orcs and the old Black Orc miniatures, especially with the helmets. So they've got a few of those callbacks in there, but with the new Orc aesthetic, which is just
They've got a kind of
gorgeous.
like piggy helmet, haven't
They have, you know, yeah,
with the
think about it.
tusks.
And also they've got a lot better in the game as well to match the new miniatures. You can imagine they're just harder, and so much more tough to kill as well. So
Celui du milieu, une position de Cruel Boys. Quand même, hein, ouais, j'avoue. Lui, il
set
set, là.
Pretty tasty
Celui-là.
in Age of Sigmar. That's quite hard to get. And those spears as well can give you benefits against charging enemies, which is pretty cool. So at the moment, most of your Iron Jaws, quite rightly, are all about running at the enemy as fast as they can and trying to make a mess. But sometimes
Très
you
cool,
do actually
très
have to
beau.
hold your own objective. So it's quite useful to have a unit that is both hard to kill and very good at taking a charge. These are absolutely your anvil unit in an Iron Jaws force.
Yeah, must have for any Auric player. Those are fantastic. Well, there we go.
Oh!
And also, Eddie,
What?
the Iron Jaws Battle Tome supplement is on the way as well.
Supplément?
So a supplement for Battle Tome Oryx. This is going to be a free PDF. So
Oh.
all of those new units that we've shown off today, including the new pigs that we saw previously.
PDF
and the new
gratuit.
Iron Jaws Big Boss that we saw on
PDF
the
gratuit.
site. All of those will have be available in the new supplement and in your Warhammer Age of Sigmar app, so you can download them for free and add them into your existing Iron Jaws or Big
Nice.
So cool.
Très bien.
There we go.
Bravo.
What a wonderful addition to the range. Right, Eddie,
Super.
what's up next? What are we looking at now?
We
Good job.
have...
Good job.
Where are we? Oh.
More pigs?
Let's watch the video and see what.
Let's watch the video and find out.
Ah. Wow. Iron Jaws, man. Les nouveaux Iron Jaws sont sick. Ah. What the hell?
A new multi-part iron armor kit for the Horus Heresy. Nick, what do we know about this new unit?
Well, that is so they are an all-round box to be used throughout your Horus Heresy forces. We've got the Mark III tactical squad here, and of course interchangeable with
Skip.
all the kits we already
Moche
got.
après ça, après les Iron Jaws, ouais, clairement,
We already have,
clairement.
we can use on these guys as well to make them super custom.
Les joueurs Flesh Eater Codes vont finir par être bleus à force de retenir leur souffle. I know! Je veux voir du Flesh Eater, là.
These ones are very much in scale with the newer beacon models.
J'ai plus de ça au cerveau, stopper les annonces.
But the key thing with this unit is that all of the weapons interchange with all of the new upgrades, basically. So,
Bon, ça c'est...
squad,
Je suis désolé, je vais baisser le son un peu, là.
add in other weapons to make it,
Wow, les Iron Jaws, pour vrai.
flamers and plasma guns, las cannons, and multi-
J'ai-tu beaucoup de joueurs Iron Jaws dans le chat?
and obviously, there's a few options in the kit already. You've got
Du monde qui sont contents, j'espère, là.
things for side,
Les kits sont
as well as
insane.
box casters and banners and all.
Les Ragers, personnellement, là, wow. Malade.
I won't lie, the back banner.
Malade.
You like your back banner? You like
I
your
do like my
back banner?
back banner. It's really nice to see different versions of the armor as well. 'cause of course,
Armée de cœur après Seraphon.
we're quite used to having this armor. So the Iron Warriors on the left-hand side. famous-
Non, sérieux, ils sont vraiment, vraiment cool. Vraiment cool.
Particularly
Il était temps, là, qui tu sais, je veux dire, c'est une des armées avec le moins de kits.
punches quite well, so
Même chose pour les Flesh Eaters, tu sais, je veux dire, il était temps, là, qu'on aille
Imperial
un grossissement du range, là, puis ça fait du bien, puis tu vois que le...
very kind of
Tu vois qu'ils ont de l'espace pour le design encore, là, dans ces armées-là, là.
that's fine.
There we go. What have we got next?
Yeah,
Très
so the
cool.
only new thing
Très,
on the
très,
way
très
for the
cool.
Horus Heresy. Let's have a look at the next video.
Oh, next. Ah. Ouais, probablement un Battle Tome individuel. Effectivement. Ça m'étonnerait pas qu'il... Malheureusement, à la prochaine édition, ça m'étonnerait pas qu'il drop Bone Splitters. Puis qu'il fasse un Battle Tome Iron Jaws puis un Battle Tome Cruel Boys séparés.
A brand new plastic Dorito Dreadnought fills out the last of the
Désolé, Oya.
famous
Désolé.
kind of Horus
Je voulais pas
Heresy
t'offenser.
Dreadnought styles alongside the Contemptor.
Ça serait malheureux.
Nick,
Mais-
what do you know about this new kit?
The Dreadnought Dreadnought is, of course, the absolute best in your gun platform dreadnoughts. This thing is loaded with weapons all over it, and this particular model is the plastic kit, is the Anvilus configuration. It comes with the ILS missile launchers on its back, has twin heavy bolters in its chest, which you can swap out for flames if you want to, and of course it's
pas très beau ça, hein? C'est-tu moi ou...
batteries on its arms, which this model
On dirait c'est tellement statique comme pose. Il est tout droit, genre. Je sais pas. C'est juste moi, on dirait un jouet qu'on a pogné au Corvette. Peut-être moi qui est trop harsh.
It's like a one-man gun line,
Absolutely
basically.
right,
So, like a walking turret to put right in the middle of your army. You can use it for any of your legions. It also has Legends rules for use in Warhammer 40,000 as well, if you wanted to use it. But yeah, it's just a really cool model. We have seen this model before in resin, but the plastic obviously makes it much more accessible, easy to build, much easier to pose, easier to kind of add multiples to your army, all that stuff. This model and the Space Marine unit we just saw will be coming individually. They'll also be coming in a Legionnaires Astartes battle group. So we've got a shot to show you all the things that are coming in that set, which is, I think 30, I think I'm right in saying 30 Space Marines, a Land Raider, and one of the new plastic dreadnoughts. You'll also note that there's some special weapon sprues in this as well. So if you see the troopers at the back there, you can see some plasma guns and some Volkites. And you can see how easily the kits can be interchanged with lots of different special weapons. I think you get almost enough special weapons if you wanted to give almost everything in that box.
That's cool. It's a super good box, actually, if you're just starting out a force, isn't it? Rather than sort of, or even adding on to a force to get the new stuff in there as well.
Yeah, so if you bought the Age of Darkness box last year, then adding this will give you pretty much more than 3,000 points of Horus Heresy, which is pretty cool, so you're good to go. If you've yet to kind of dip your toe into Horus Heresy and are looking for a good way to start, this is a really good place to start, particularly if you're going to lean into one of those legions where Iron Armor particularly is their kind of go-to plate.
Perfect. It would certainly suit like an Iron Warriors force, wouldn't it, with the big gunline dreadnought and the Mark III plate all over the place.
Yeah, you can use it for any, but yeah, there's certain legions that just look good in heavy armor, right?
There we go. That does look quite tempting as well. I've not painted any Ultramarines for Horus Heresy yet. I might have to start.
It's only a matter of time.
It really is.
It's only a matter of time. Cool. All right. So there's some Horus Heresy there. We're going to jump back to the Mortal Realms now. And
oh yeah. Okay. What? Oh, Warcry. Okay. Laura Wood is hungry for battle. Ooh, effect. Cities. Ooh. Des gorgers, ouais. Damn.
So Hunter and Hunted, a new box on the way for Warcry, and we've seen some brand new miniatures in there, and even some new unit types as well, which is pretty cool. Tell us about those, man.
Yeah,
Chuck,
so
you might go with that.
Sets for Warcry. All of the miniatures in this can also be used in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and this is basically a battle set between the Cities of Sigmar Hunters and Ogre Gorgers, which are a unit we haven't really seen for a very long time. So this is a little bit different from some of the Warcry sets we've seen in the past, where it tended to get 2 warbands, but you also got loads and loads of terrain. So the assumption is at this point that if you've been collecting Warcry for 2 or 3 years at this point, you probably have lots and lots of boards, and you don't need loads more terrain. So in this set, you get 1 really cool piece of terrain, and then 2 warbands. So there's lots of stuff you can immediately use, basically. The Gorgers are 5-man, 5 ogre unit, and they are a really cool glow up on a classic ogre type. These are ogres which basically suffer from extreme hunger. So ogres, normally you associate them with like very big, rotund, angry monsters, but that kind of have full bellies
Damn.
and are very proud of their
So
guts.
huge.
This is the worst thing that could possibly happen to an ogre as far as they're concerned, which is that they haven't got full guts, and they're unable to satiate the hunger inside themselves, and they kind of become these pariah packs of ogres that skulk around the edges of the camp and feed on the offerings, and they kind of throw away scraps and stuff. And occasionally they wander out into settlements and into civilization because the ogres don't like being around them because they think they might be a bit infectious. They don't want to get hungry too, basically. That's the worst thing that could possibly
That's the
happen.
worst.
The absolute worst.
They're so bestial in their nature as well. Sort of like the mind's completely overtaken by just the hunt for food, and nothing else matters anymore. And they're just amazing miniatures. You mentioned the fact that we haven't seen one of these for a long time. We had that sort of a couple of miniatures in Metal and Finecast many moons ago in the Gorger, but now we have a whole plastic unit of them to be used in Warcry and AOS as well.
Yeah. And there's some nods there to the classic one. So that one bottom left there is very similar to one of the Gorges that we've seen before in Metal, but these are much more detailed. They're plastic. There's some options in there as well in terms of like builds and things like that, which is really cool.
Nice.
And yeah, just a really cool unit. They are a Warcry warband in their own right. They can also be added into ogre forces, and they also in this box you've got that cool Maw pit as well, which is really cool.
Look at these.
So you got the Wildercorpse Hunters. So we have seen this unit before, so we're not going to dwell on these guys for ages, but they come in that box as well. And effectively, the
doggos.
Wildercorpse are those in the City of Sigmar that feel more at home in the wilderness than they do in the cities, and then they go out to kind of cull the local monsters and track and find the trails and things for the rest of the free cities to find their new settlements.
And as the chat is pointing out, there are quite a lot of doggos in this box.
And obviously, the star of the box is that it comes with 4 great doggos.
5 great doggos.
5
as
great
well.
doggos.
I know,
There's one
right?
on the character.
Exactly, it's a doggo heavy box. These are wonderful miniatures. In Warcry,
Ouais, c'est vrai, ça va donner le kit avec le plus de beasts.
crossbows and letting the enemy close in. They've even got a special reaction that lets them escape from combat should anyone get too close. And of course, they can be used in Warhammer Age of Sigmar as well. We've already seen them rules from the Cities of Sigmar, where they're expert trackers and can just nip around the battlefield and hide and skulk away in bits of ruins as well. They're just beautiful miniatures and a wonderful little painting project. Must have. Oh, look at that.
And this is the Maw pit, so this is the piece of terrain you get in that set as well.
Maw
so this
pit.
can either be added into your Warcry battles, or you can add this as a swap out the cauldron that you might normally have in an ogre army in Age of Sigmar and have this instead. And what it basically represents is a great gullet in the realm, and the ogres believe that this is a manifestation of their deity. Whether that is true or not, what they do is they
Cool.
take some of their
Ça peut
victims
être
from
un
their
cauldron
raids
à la
and things
place.
and throw kind of choice offerings into this pit. So if you are captured by the ogres, you will either be eaten by the ogres or thrown into this pit, and I'm not sure which is worse,
Or
to be
both.
honest, or a bit of both maybe. The Gorgers revere this as there's like the bit of their mind that is still able to comprehend
nice.
reveres these as kind of sacred places. So they're just about enough wherewithal to kind of drag a few sacrifices to this pit and throw them in.
It's wholly terrifying.
It's
It
pretty-
really,
it's
really
pretty-
is like adding
it's pretty
horror
terrifying,
into
yeah,
Warhammer
yeah.
to a truly horrifying.
It's when you like imagine what might be underneath, right? Like
Yeah.
how far down does it go? What's actually under there? That's
Is
the
it?
terrifying
Yeah,
part.
yeah. It's just amazing stuff. There we go. I just another great box set for Warcry. It just keeps knocking it out of the park every time we see a box.
It's very cool. Yeah, Warcry's had some incredible miniatures,
really
and I think
has.
this is no exception.
Also nice, and of course, that if you get those warbands, you can use them in your AOS armies as well, or even build entire armies based around them if you want to. Good stuff.
Right. Speaking
What
of
next?
Hungary, we'll see what we got
I am
next.
quite hungry actually. Well, what's next?
Damn! Blood Bowl. Okay. This team sucks. Put the blood in Blood Bowl.
The new vampires for Blood Bowl, a classic team for Blood Bowl, of course, but with a reimagining with a sort of real classic horror vibe going on throughout the team. They're just fantastic miniatures.
Yeah, so we've seen a few undead warbands, undead teams for Blood Bowl, and these take a very different angle. They've got a kind of romance horror sort of vibe to them. So you can see a mix there of vampires, which are obviously very capable. They're all the things you want a Blood Bowl player to be. They're fast and tough and
The
killy.
Drakfang
Thralls in there as well, which are
Thirsters.
basically the walking packed lunches for the vampires.
Even covered in bandages and plasters where they've been bitten all over the place in their big frilly shirts. The actual team, in terms of the game, have changed quite a little bit. They still sometimes feed upon the thralls in the middle of the game if they roll badly on their bloodlust rolls. But there's actually some new positionals as well. They've got a thrower for the first time, which is so-called have a vampire with a pass skill. And also in the team, blitzers, which we had before, which we can see here, they've got the juggernaut skill and they're pretty good. But also we've got runners in the team as well for the first time. They're movement 8. They're so fast and drudging all over the place.
They're like skinks that kill you.
Literally skinks that kill you, yeah. Terrifying players. You pay the gold coins for them, of course, but they're great. So a really nice reimagining of the team, wonderful new miniatures, and I love that harking back to, it's the classic horror, isn't it? That is just could be straight out of a novel.
Yeah, there's lots of fun,
Cool.
as we've seen with Blood Bowl, that the miniature designers have taken the opportunity to add some humour in there as well. So lots of the kind of peripheral bits you get in there, like the tokens and the turn counters and things. There's lots of bats doing various things in coffins and hanging upside down and being generally mischievous. So it's a really fun team.
I'm all about the plasters everyone's wearing. It's just like hints they've been bitten all over the place. That's just fantastic.
Poofy shirts as well.
The poofy shirts.
Bring it back.
There we go. On the way for Blood Bowl very, very soon. And can't wait for them.
All right.
And then we've got some other board game news for you as well.
Okay, what we got?
Underworlds. Yep. Death Gorge. Oh, Slanesh. Luminette. Non, Idonette. What? Il y a une squid. What the fuck? Ugh. Damn. Les modèles ont l'air sick. Death Gorge. Icy Jaws of the Death Gorge.
A brand new series for Warhammer Underworld's Death Gorge. Nick, what do we know about this
I'm
box?
so excited. Well, Death Gorge takes the action to Antador, where the General's Handbook for Warhammer Age of Sigmar has it. The whole place has been frozen over by the Everwinter. There's a frozen wasteland. And we've got a whole new season of Underworlds with really cool miniatures, loads of cool little rules tweaks as well all over the place. But I know what everyone's saying in the chat. There's a squid.
T'as la piève, puis t'as le gros qui attend juste de se taper la piève.
The whole season's changed. There's a few rules tweaks here that make better for as well. You can add the plunder rule gets changed, for example, if you play Underworld. But the big news of the season are the 2 new warbands in there: Sirenes Razors, the Idoneth Thiepkin, and the Thricefold Discord, who are the Slaneshi Demonettes.
So let's talk about the Slaanesh warband first. This is some quite interesting takes on the Slaaneshi vibe. What do we know about these guys?
So yeah, you're absolutely right. They're sort of reminiscent of the sort of excess that Slaanesh shows. The leader is Vexmore, the excessively indolent in the centre there, who's the laziest demonette ever and actually thrives off the laziness.
Lazy.
So if she fails to defend herself, she takes.
Lazy demonette.
The bladed blessing on the right and Vashtis the coiled on the left. They all hate each other. And in fact, they get better in the game as if one of the other ones fails, which is great. They're a really cool warband in the game, quite tanky and quite aggro as well. So get them involved into a fight. They're just really cool models to paint up, and a wonderful warband to use. Pretty difficult to use in terms of the game. They've also got some really cool little rules.
Tellement de détails.
Some cards called Temptations, where you can offer your opponents a choice to make.
It's a little bit like the mechanic in Age of Sigmar.
Absolutely, yeah. They're both bad choices, but you've got a choice to make. And they've also got some upgrades called False Gifts, which you can give to enemy fighters.
Simple reading.
They appear to be good, but have a downside. Like you might get a +1 wound, but you might not be able to move anymore.
Okay.
Which is just cool, right? That's proper Slaneshi. And of course, the other warband facing off against them. There are other
Forget
fighters.
about the rest of the fighters, because I think everybody wants to know about this guy. So I assume the warband leader here.
Let's be honest, probably no, actually not. This is Sephanir, the cephalopod. Is just absolutely monstrous. He's huge as well. It doesn't really quite show you how big this model is, but he's monstrous in the game as well. And you'll be happy to know he's got a special rule in the game where if he gets attacked, he can squirt ink in your face and escape, which is just the coolest image I can think of.
Pourquoi pas?
So it does come with some other models as well.
Of course, yeah.
So this is an Ideneth warband. We've obviously got a magic user in there as well and a couple of fighters. So this looks like a fairly flexible warband that can do a bit of everything. Yeah, they are a flex aggro warband and go for objectives as well. You've got the battle mage in the centre who is the leader, Serenity of the Abyss, and the two Namati either side who are just good warriors who just dish out the attacks. Yeah, they're a really good fun aggro warband to go and smash your opponent's face in. So yeah, the Slaneshi one is more about sort of like tempting your opponent and controlling what they do and manipulating. These guys just run forward and smash.
Il nous reste juste 5 minutes, hein?
So both really good fun to get involved in. And there's a squid.
Il nous reste juste 5 minutes, puis on n'a pas vu Old World encore, fait que peut-être qu'on verra rien pour un Justin.
It's absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it wouldn't have been my first choice to invade an icy chasm, but you know. That's fine, you know, they've gone with squid, that's fine.
Of course, the box comes with 4 decks of cards for One Worlds. On the top, you've got the 2 Rivals decks, which go with those 2 warbands. And the bottom as well, 2 Universal Rivals decks, which any warband.
Il y a un autre stream demain?
Breakneck Slaughter, Breakneck Slaughter, as you
pense
imagine,
pas.
is all our aggro and smashing people's faces in.
Je ne pense pas, moi je suis pas au courant.
Ball control. So yeah, they're useful for any player who plays Underworld. So even if you don't want to paint a squid or some lazy demonettes, then you absolutely can get this box and still use it for any warband in the game as well. So it's a must-have for any Warhammer Underworlds players.
It's also worth saying this is a really good box to start playing Warhammer Underworld. So any of the season sets basically give you a board, 2 warbands, all the cards you need. So this is a self-contained board game. So just by buying this set, without adding anything else to it, you have a complete gaming experience, but obviously gives you an in into Warhammer Underworld if you want.
It's crucially the place to get hold of the latest edition of the rules as well, which is it's the ultimate competitive miniatures games. It's always worth keeping up with the latest set of rules. So Death Gorge is a must-have if you're playing to get hold of those.
You get a sense of how big the squid is on that particular one, don't you?
Massive.
Like I think you kind of imagine it being like a little critter, but actually it's quite considerably larger.
All right.
If you play Warhammer Underworld, he's
What's
got
next?
4 wounds, which is about the size of a Stormcast Eternal. He's big. There we go. Very cool. I cannot wait to get hold of that box. I'm a big fan of Underworlds. There we go. We've got more.
All right. Well, we've had some stuff in the Mortal Realms. We're going to hop over now to the Old World and have a look at a new model.
Here we go.
Unicorns. Lady of the... La Dame du Lac, c'est ça? C'est quoi? Ouais, Lady of the Lake, c'est ça.
What an absolutely stunning miniature on the way for the Bretonnians for the Old World. That is Lady Elise Duchard, special character of the Bretonnians, riding a unicorn into battle, and just has to be one of the most beautiful miniatures I've ever seen come from Games Workshop. What do you think, man?
It's really, really beautiful. Like, I think we're so used
C'est
to
beau.
seeing Warhammer miniatures that are like covered in skulls and bedecked in kind of gothic features that actually, this is just a really beautiful model. It's like a really handsome horse. Like a beautiful pose, a great miniature, a very different sort of thing to paint. So this is going to look spectacular and really stand out.
100% new character. Okay.
Everything else is like vivid, bright primary colours and galloping horses and shining lances. And then you've got this kind of single radiant point of light right in the middle, as you expect, representing the Lady of the Lake and the chalice of the Grail itself.
Ça va nous faire des belles conversions pour EOS. Tu ferais quoi comme conversion avec ça?
Of the unicorn itself is beautiful. Look at its face.
Daughters of Cain, peut-être?
So much character and energy in there, and the purity and lines all over the miniature. I genuinely am in love, and I suppose that's probably kind of what the sculptor's trying to get across, the absolute sort of pinnacle of purity of the Bretonnian forces.
Yeah,
And
well, certainly of the damsels in the Bretonnian forces. So the Bretonnians aren't all nobility and chivalry, perhaps, but they certainly represent it more than most factions do in Warhammer. Some really nice nods on this miniature to some classic models. So if you've been playing Warhammer Fantasy before, you'll remember the Fey Enchantress miniature, and there's lots of kind of nods to some of those early incarnations of the Fey Enchantress. So the unicorn, obviously, some of the kind of the hair and the heraldry and the aesthetic touches on this unicorn. It's kind of wrapped in, rather than like armor or anything, it's actually harnessed with the power of nature rather than kind of anything else, which is kind of nodding towards the magical power of the damsel herself.
even the reins around the unicorn's neck are sort of garland made of thorns and branches, which really pays off that. And it's nice to see as well the glow up sort of from the right hand screen across sort of the Fey Enchantress through the years to come to Lady Elise.
Yeah. I think every single time those miniatures came out, I was like, that's one of the best miniatures that exists, and there's just something about Bretonnian damsels on unicorns that just seems to bring out the best in the sculpting team every single time. Really amazing
absolutely
model.
stunning stuff, and I can't wait to paint that one up. Chats in the people in the chat asking, Eddie, what's that being made out of? That one?
So that is a resin miniature. So I think in your head, if you imagine this is being approached in a similar way to
resin.
the Primarch series we had for the Horus Heresy. So there will be like a range of very, very detailed, very specialist resin miniatures that are kind of leaning into the detail. There will also be new plastic miniatures for the old world and lots of returning kits as well. So you have a good mix of things to play with.
There we go. It's a little teaser on more stuff to come in the future. If the quality is like that for the old world, we've got some amazing stuff to look forward to.
Do indeed. We have one last thing to show the folks, and I think this might be the showstopper miniature. We've had some pretty impressive miniatures so far in this preview. We've had the new Trog, we've had the Bretonnian Damsel, obviously, new Dreadnought. There's some new Space Marines. Some people like Space
What
Marines.
is it?
Clonk and a squid.
Clonk, of course. But this miniature might be the best of all of them, and maybe the best miniature of the year.
You reckon?
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll let you decide for yourselves
Here
as
we
we
go.
have a look at our last preview. Raph, do you want to roll film?
What the hell? Ooh. Full game, okay. Damn. On va voir des Moratti convertis, ouais, clairement. Clairement.
Transfigured, a new character miniature for the Horus Heresy series. Absolutely incredible model. This is the second
he
of
big.
the Primarchs that we've seen kind of released in the wake of their ascension through the powers of chaos, and an absolutely jaw-dropping miniature. Nick, what do you want to say about
It's
it?
just absolutely stunning, isn't it? Just look. I mean, Fulgrim is a personification of perfection, and the miniature reflects that perfectly. It's just absolutely stunning. Everything you would have wanted from this model, and exactly how you imagine him when he ascends to demonhood. Just more stuff to keep looking at all over the place, like the little faces in the cloaks, or the beautiful scales on the snake part, the sting at the end of the tail, the forearms, the wings. The
Les ailes sont
beautiful
stupides.
face. It's been rendered absolutely incredible.
Pour vrai, il aurait pu
by
avoir.
sculptors, and yeah, it's
Il aurait pu ne pas avoir d'ailes, puis il aurait été sacoche.
In this miniature to some of
Aussi.
the Horus Heresy artwork we've seen of this model, or of this character as he's ascended. This is Fulgrim during the Horus Heresy, just after he's been kind of ascended to demonhood, just before the events of the Siege of Terror sort of thing. Lots of you, I'm sure, would like to see him appear in Warhammer 40,000. Maybe he will one day, but until that time, you've got this beautiful model to use in your Horus Heresy games.
And again, this is a resin miniature, Eddie?
It is a resin miniature, yes.
Resin,
much like Horus
resin.
the same sort of vibe. A character that's kind of been reborn as they've journeyed through the events of the Horus Heresy. We might see more Primarchs meet a similar fate as well as the series goes on. But yeah, an absolutely beautiful addition to anybody who's got a Horus Heresy traitorous force.
It's absolutely stunning and huge as well. I've been lucky enough to see it in person, and it's just absolutely just an absolute centerpiece model as well. You've got to get this in your force.
So the character himself is kind of swollen with power. Obviously, he's got more arms. He's got snake body. The body of the Primarch himself is a little bigger than some of the his brothers now, but that added with the kind of extra scale of the snake body and the wings makes him tower over pretty much anything short of a knight in Horus Heresy games.
It's a must-have, and a certain painting project as well. If you play Horus Heresy, what a way to finish, Eddie. That's quite the finisher, that one.
Yeah, it's been a cool preview. Nick, have you got any particular highlights? Obviously, you're a big Ultramarine fan. Has anything stolen the limelight?
We saw Ultramarines at the start. I was quite happy with those Ultramarines later on. That was good. But for me personally, I'm a huge Warhammer Underworlds fan, and I cannot wait for Death Gorge. The miniatures in that are just beautiful. How about you, man? What's your highlight?
So, I mean, there's some great stuff in there. I am a big Destruction fan for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, so I am excited about Trugg the Troggoth King. I think he might be my most excited thing. But, I mean, it's all good.
The one I wasn't expecting at all was I need to get hold of that Lady Elise Dishard and paint her up.
Alright. On a-tu toutes les reveals à la même place?
Well, thank you ever so much for joining us, guys. If you were also...
Make sure to come back here. C'est pas live encore. On a lui, mais on n'a pas le reste. Bon. Au moins on a lui. Qui a dit qu'on va être déçu? Ça c'était PL, of course. Bon, le show est fini, clairement. Rest in peace, no fake. Ouais. Rest in peace, no fake, malheureusement. Ça sera pas tout de suite. Ok. Alright. Tous les reveals sont supposés arriver ici à un moment donné. Mais on les a peut-être pas pour l'instant. Alright. On a le Trugg au moins. Du monde qui sont hype pour Trugg de Troggoth King. Le modèle est quand même assez insane, on va se le dire. Le modèle est vraiment hot. Le modèle est quand même malade, là. Ça va faire une belle addition pour des armées de Troggoth au complet, là. Fait que ça c'est quand même cool. Ça, c'est quand même hype. Puis vient, on a vu le prochain Dawnbringers. Dawnbringers. J'ai peur pour ces règles, ouais, ça va rester à voir, effectivement. Prochain Dawnbringers, c'est qu'on a vu, ça va être les deux Crusades qui partent de... Les deux Dawnbringer Crusades qui partent de Hammerhall. Il y en a une dans Akshi, il y en a une dans Guéran. On sait, il y en a une des deux qui va réussir, une des deux qui va failer, mais on sait pas laquelle. De ce qu'on a vu, il y en a une qui va rencontrer des Troggoth, puis... en fait, les deux vont rencontrer des forces de destruction. Il va y avoir des Troggoth, puis il va y avoir des Iron Jaws, puis il va y avoir des Sons of Behemoth. Fait que, I guess, on va voir à quoi ça ressemble. J'ai bien hâte de voir la suite de l'histoire à ce niveau-là. Je sais qu'ils ont parlé d'un Regiments of Renown et tout. C'est quelque chose de spécial. Ouais, on voit des cities, c'est ça. On voit quand même le Big Pig s'en venir éventuellement. Arrête perso sur les Rangers en chest. Honnêtement, moi aussi, les Brute Ragers sont vraiment hot. C'est dommage que j'aie pas accès à toutes les photos. C'est dommage que tout est pas sorti encore sur le site. Peut-être? Non. Ils ont commencé à mettre le stock, mais pour l'instant, ils sont dans les Marines encore. Parce qu'ils disent toutes les reveals right here, mais c'était juste le stream qui était ici, je pense. Fait que j'ai pas les autres. J'ai pas ce qui est sorti après, malheureusement. Peut-être que je peux retourner. Dans le fond, je peux peut-être retourner voir sur Twitch. Rapido presto. Warhammer. Dernière diffusion, il y a 2 heures.
Smashing weapon, or you can kit him out with...
Alright, lui était cool. Zogrok est nice. C'est pas mon favori par contre, mais c'est cool d'avoir un name character de plus pour Iron Jaws, honnêtement. Là. Oh, sont-ils tous... Ah, ils viennent de sortir le preview. Ah, nice, nice. Super, merci Gab. Alright. Fait que, justement, je parlais de lui. Zogrok est nice. C'est pas mon préféré, personnellement. Je le trouve bien. Mais, comme je disais, je suis quand même content qu'il y ait un name character pour les Rangers de plus. C'est quand même nice. Là. Le concept est bien. Mais c'est pas mon miniature favori de la soirée, mettons. C'est lui qui me parle le moins, probablement. Des Rangers, en tout cas. Là. Le Squig est correct. Là. Le Squig va pas me faire acheter le bonhomme. Là. Il y a son genre de petit weapon qui ressemble à un cochon ou son épée. L'épée en feu, l'épée qui melt est quand même cool. Quand même cool. Les Ragers. Oh my god. Ces dudes-là. Wow. Hein? Les Ragers sont tellement badass. Tu vois, regarde, là, on le voit pas bien, là. Je pense pas que je peux zoomer tant plus que ça, là. On voit les veines, là. Genre, ici, là, à gauche, ici, là, je sais pas si vous voyez, là. Il y a une genre de grosse veine, là, sur son biceps, là. Tu sens qu'ils sont genre... Ah, ouais. Pas eux autres, excuse. Ça, c'est les Records, là, mais même chose pour eux, là. On voit les veines, là. Très cool. Juste cette unit-là, ça donne le goût de jouer à Rangers, honnêtement, là. Ils ont juste genre fait fuck off, ils ont enlevé leurs armures du top, puis ils ont dit let's go. Let's go. Puis ben c'est ça, c'est un dual kit avec les Weird Brute Wreckers. Des genres de fanatiques qui ont leur boule avec des pics qui garochent partout. J'ai hâte de voir leurs règles. Dizav m'a montré ma grosse scène si tu continues. Non merci. Eux autres aussi sont nice, mais je dirais que j'aime moins la version avec les casques comme ça que les Ragers. Mais je suis juste content qu'on ait un dual kit de plus. C'est juste une nouvelle unit pour l'armée. Très très cool à ce niveau-là aussi. Là. Fait que... Puis ils ont gardé la thématique avec eux et tout de plus d'armure sur le haut. Fait que très 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 nice aussi. Et on a vu les nouveaux Hard Boys. Man, les nouveaux Hard Boys sont quand même sa coche. Là. Hard Boys, je vais redescendre un peu ce que j'ai fait. Hard Boys avec les shields. Les shields sont hot, là. Les lances. Ah ouais. Ils vont faire moins derpy que les Hard Boys actuels. Les Hard Boys actuels étaient pas si pires. Mais je veux dire, sont loin de ça, là. On va se dire les vraies affaires, là. Ces Hard Boys-là sont vraiment cool. Vraiment cool. Honnêtement. Ouais. Tu vois les veines et tout sur leurs bras ici, là. Ah ouais. Fait que je m'attends quand même à ce qu'ils soient un peu plus petits que des brutes, là, je veux dire, en termes de grosseur. Mais ça reste... Tu vois que là, au moins, ils vont beaucoup plus fitter avec le reste de l'armée. Fait que ça, c'est très cool. Très nice. Et le Battle Tome Supplement, ils ont-tu d'autres infos ici? Darmers 2, looking for someone that might have irresponsible. They busted free from the pages are burning headlong towards the race alongside a free online Battle Tome supplement. Iron Jaws. This will contains the rules for every new single unit and the recently previewed Hardboy Big Boss, designed to work alongside Battle. It also features a dose of Iron Jaws lore and a gallery of miniatures. Ok, bon. Ils disent pas grand chose de spécial de plus. Fait que je m'attendais peut-être qu'il y aurait pas des updates de règles, mais ils l'ont pas vraiment. Ça. Les Hardboys ont des lances maintenant 2 pouces reach, baby. Ouais, probablement. Puis ils disaient que les lances allaient avoir de quoi contre les units qui les chargent. Hein? Shock Troopers. Take up stickers, which make it a laugh to ward off charges from mighty monsters and give them good poking afterwards. Oh, mighty monsters, peut-être ça va être une règle juste contre les monstres par contre. Even their shields are more a weapon than a defensive tool, a hulking slab of beaten iron covered in tusks and spikes. Alright, très cool. Très très cool. Ça veut dire qu'on a eu les. On a tué les autres. Ah! Iron Jaws était là. Les Gorgers sont quand même nice. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez des Gorgers, vous autres? Je veux dire, les Cities, on les avait déjà vus. Il y a des Doggos, sont très cool. Moi, personnellement, l'esthétique de Cities me parle moins, mais je veux dire, les modèles sont bien. Les modèles sont nice. Le Mopit est quand même très cool. Le Mopit est très nice. C'est dégueulasse. On va se le dire. Mais les Gorgers en tant que tels sont ici. Ils sont nice, mais j'aime moins le chef avec 2 weapons. Celui-là ici, dans le fond. Les Gorgers sont-ils joués présentement? Ben, oui, parce que ça te fait une unit qui peut deep strike. Je pense qu'il était plus joué dans la dernière saison parce que c'était plus facile d'aller faire la bataille tactique pour aller contrôler un terrain ou whatever. Par contre, ils ont dit que ça allait être une unit de 5 si je me trompe pas. Là. Fait qu'ils vont peut-être changer complètement le War Scroll des Gorgers. Là. A Gorger Mawpack. Fait que c'est peut-être une autre unit complètement aussi. Non, ça dit pas grand chose sur leurs règles. Non, ça dit pas grand chose sur leurs règles. Celui-là est quand même nice. Lui, c'est l'esthétique classique du Gorger actuel. Là. Celui-là ici, là, gros callback au Gorger actuel. Ouais, ils sont nice. Effectivement, je pense que celui que j'aime le moins, c'est le chef avec 2 weapons. Moi aussi. Mais les autres sont nice. On verra bien. Peut-être que ça va remplacer le Wascall. Peut-être que ça va être une nouvelle unit complètement. Ce qui serait cool pour les Ogres. Mais du meilleur du nom, je veux dire, vous avez des beaux modèles pour jouer des... Tu sais, mettons que le Warscroll de Gorgers reste comme il est, puis vous avez aussi une nouvelle unit, mais au moins vous avez des beaux modèles pour jouer des Gorgers là, avec ça. Là. Clairement, là, vous en recevez un 5, 1, 2, 3, 4... Non, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ouais, c'est ça. 5 Gorgers. 5 Gorgers. Les Hard Boys vont-ils changer de grosseur de base, tu penses? Je penserais pas. C'est des 32, les Hard Boys, en ce moment? Je penserais pas. Ça avait l'air de 32 quand même. Je penserais pas. Cool. Puis, je pense pas qu'on n'a pas vu... On n'a pas le preview des Squids, de Underworlds. Mais Underworlds, c'était nice. Underworlds, les modèles Slanesh étaient quand même très cool. Les Idonettes, je sais pas, y a-tu du monde que les modèles Idonettes les ont fait triper? Moi, je les ai trouvés ordinaires overall. Mais les modèles Slanesh étaient quand même vraiment éclatés. Là. Les modèles Slanesh étaient très cool. Peut-être que je les ai pas ici. Mais honnêtement, mon highlight, c'est vraiment les Iron Jaws. Ces dudes-là. Très nice. Les Gorgers, ça peut faire des beaux Crypt Horror convertis. I guess. Effectivement. Ça revient peut-être plus cher, par contre. Un paquet de 5, ouais, mais ils sont dans une boîte de Warcry, ouais. Mais I guess que ça peut le faire, effectivement. Cool, j'espère que vous avez apprécié, j'espère que vous allez être content. Vous avez été content du preview. Honnêtement, on a eu beaucoup de stock. Je pense pas qu'on puisse dire qu'on a été déçus. Peut-être qu'il y en a certains, comme moi, qui espéraient avoir des nouvelles sur les Flesh Eater Courts. Il faut croire que ça va attendre un peu plus tard dans l'année. C'est mon prochain projet aussi, Flesh Eater Courts, fait que j'espérais voir un peu de preview là-dessus. On a des rumeurs sur les Flesh Eater Courts aussi, fait que j'ai hâte de voir qu'est-ce qui va sortir. Mais si les rumeurs, je veux dire, on avait eu des rumeurs Flesh Eater Courts, puis on avait eu des rumeurs Iron Jaws, puis si je me trompe pas, toutes les rumeurs Iron Jaws se sont réalisées. Fait que ça augure bien pour ce qu'il disait pour les Flesh Eater Courts aussi, les rumeurs parlaient de plusieurs nouveaux kits aussi, donc on expand le range et tout, fait que très content que ce soit arrivé pour les Iron Jaws. Espérons que ce soit la même chose pour les Flesh Eater Courts. Fait que c'est ça, guys. Merci d'avoir été là ce soir. J'espère que vous avez bien apprécié. Pour ceux qui n'avaient pas entendu au début du stream, demain, sauf force majeure, Players Pack du GTT va sortir. Fait que ça s'en vient pour ça. Puis sinon, ben moi, je vous retrouve la semaine prochaine, guys. Passez une excellente soirée. J'espère que vous avez apprécié. Puis je vous aime bien gros. Je vous embrasse. en arrière du genou. Ouais. Bye bye!